Welcome to the Hidden Stories of Africa. Before we dive in, please like, share, and subscribe for more details about Africa that would blow your mind like this one. The dark, untold stories of the Arab slave trade in Africa. They told us about the Transatlantic Slave Trade, about ships crossing the Atlantic and plantations in the Americas. But long before that, another slave trade began. A trade that lasted for over 1,300 years. One that took place not across the Atlantic, but across the sands of the Sahara and the waters of the Indian Ocean. This is the Arab slave trade in Africa, the story the world rarely talks about. It began around the 7th century, shortly after the rise of Islam. Arab traders sailed along Africa's east coast, from Sudan to Tanzania, from Ethiopia to Zanzibar, seeking gold, ivory, and people. Enslaved Africans were taken north through the Sahara, across the Red Sea, and deep into the Middle East. Over time, millions would be transported to Arabia, Persia, India, and even China. But unlike the Atlantic slave trade, this one didn't stop after 400 years. It continued for more than a millennium. Many of the men captured were castrated to prevent rebellion and to serve as guards in royal courts. It's estimated that only a fraction survived the brutal journey. Women and young girls were taken as concubines, servants, and household slaves, their identities erased and their children often absorbed into Arab societies. In Zanzibar, slave markets became infamous. Thousands were sold each year under the open sun. Historians say, for everyone who reached the market alive, several more died in the deserts or along the coast. It was a system built on silence, one that left no descendants to tell their stories. Even after the Atlantic slave trade ended, the Arab trade continued deep into the 19th century, long after slavery had been abolished in Europe. When explorers like David Livingstone and Henry Morton Stanley reached East Africa, they described horrifying scenes of chained caravans stretching across miles of desert. In 1873, under international pressure, the Sultan of Zanzibar officially closed the slave market, but the trade continued secretly for years. Today, the legacy of this hidden past remains in the languages we speak, in the Swahili culture that blends African and Arab roots, and in the silence that still surrounds the subject. For centuries, this story was buried and overshadowed by the Atlantic slave trade. But history isn't one-sided. Every civilization has its shadows. The Arab slave trade changed the map of Africa, reshaped its people, its culture, and its memory. And yet few speak of it. What other truths are still hidden in Africa's past? Subscribe for more hidden stories of Africa.